lalui hujan badai tak berarti, hanya untuk satu hal yang pasti. Gunung hutan kan ku daki, tebing jurang ku lewati, semua yang terangkan ku susuri. Oh bukan ku sombong kepada kalian, inilah kami sang petualang, bukan so jagoan kepada
downgrade, yeah, and since last April last year until next December, it must be it's not really possible for the sorry, what is yeah, that's the challenge of virtual things. Hello.
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, yeah, Mirza Ali. That's the challenge for us in here, especially for the tourism industry. We cannot run really maximum. Even our tourist islands, which famous Bali, yeah, is not running maximal event for tourism, domestic tourism. Okay, anyway, I've been to explore Pakistan a little, yeah, when I meet you to Karachi, Islamabad. I try to read Hunza Valley, but this because that's the Eid holiday. It's very crowded with domestic tourists, so I can reach Hunza because very traffic. But I saw little Peshawar until the border Pakistan and Afghanistan. And for me, Pakistan is enduring traditions, yeah, with the secret remote deserts, which we need to explore more. Which very colorful with the many people dressings there, especially women, and then magical mountain. And maybe that's you will talk about that, yeah, more about your job. And and then the country is not really touristic. I love it, and I want to go back later to Pakistan. Even at the moment now, I wear Cindy Anzrak. Yeah, what's the name of this dress?
Yes, that is Cindy Anzrak.
Yeah, I get maybe 1,000 these patterns. Yeah, in every time I visit. Many housings, friend housing who invite me to come. Okay, anyway, Mirza, can you please tell us how you can run this tour operator, yes, for Karakoram expeditions business, where you can start it? Is that your hobby first, so that's become your profession, or is that start because the family business, or can you tell us about that?
Well, it was a very surprise to meet you in Islamabad in 2018, and it was June, I think it was 14th or 15th June. It was a very surprise meeting, but I was very excited. And thank you for having a tour because Pakistan has a multi-dimension and a multicultural and ethnic background, and then the landscape and then the culture diversity is incredible. So Pakistan at the same time in the west you would find deserts in plus 50 degrees, and then in the north, in the mountains, you would find mountains in freezing temperature, minus 50. So this is the contrast of a country that is only possible in Asia and in Pakistan and in Nepal, where you have this diversity. And from north to south, you would find a contrast of cultural and from the heritage and dialects and languages, and then festivity. It's all amazing, and it is a must explore place, I would say. Likewise, Indonesia has thousands of small islands, and then thousands of languages or dialects spoken in those small islands. Pakistan is very rich in culture and history, and also the landscape. So I, coming from the northern part of the country, Pakistan, my village is on Pakistan-China border. So my
where's
village
that?
is, yes,
Gilgit?
Gilgit, Hunza.
Hunza,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, and
That's
in
very beautiful.
yes, Hunza is actually the crown of the country when it comes to tourism. So the entire world mostly knows Pakistan, or the tourism in Pakistan, either through Hunza Valley or through the Gilgit-Baltistan and K2.
Yes.
So these are the identities of the country. No doubt we have historical places all across the country, but these are somehow very well branded. So I come from Hunza Valley, a small village called Shimshal on the Pakistan-China border. So on the other side is the Xinjiang province of China.
Yeah.
And on this side of the border is Pakistan. So I come from this remote village at 3,100 meters above sea level. But my village was, because of the China border, in 18th century or early 19th century, the explorer during the Great War, the Great Game, and then the Soviet Union, the Russians, and because the British ruled over the subcontinent, and Pakistan, India was not into existence back then in early 90s or 80s. And then because of these explorers, the British explorers, the Soviet Union or Russians, the current Russia, but USSR, their explorer would go all across the Karakoram mountain ranges to explore the venues and, to expand their might and their power. So the British explorers wrote a lot of books about the unknown Karakoram. One of the book, if you read about, it mostly focuses about my village, Shimshal, at that time. And in early 90s, there was no Pakistan, India. It was just the subcontinent. So British ruled over this continent for over 100 years. So these explorers came to these regions to explore up to China. And then those explorers wrote books. And then because it is ruggedness and toughness and then the hard life and the environment. So these explorers wrote book, and then that is how the Western world knew about these untrodden territories. So because of this uniqueness and remoteness, and then the books written about the valley and the areas, the British people start coming to this region. Afterwards, when Pakistan and India became two different countries, separate countries, and then when the things got normal, people start coming to this region because they read about the region, its uniqueness. So somehow that's why the tourists come to my village, because my village was the last village of Pakistan, I would say, one of the last village on the border. So the tourists came, the trekkers came to my village for trekking purpose or climbing purpose. That's how I got familiar with the tourists, with the international tourists.
Yeah.
And then my uncle was part of Pakistan Army climbing team, and then he would go on climbing expeditions. That's how I learned about tourism. I learned about mountaineering. I learned about tourists, those who came to my village, with whom I worked as a porter or cook helper or assistant cook when I was very little kid. So it was not inherited. It was not a family business. It was all a process that I started from. When I was 15 years old, I would work with the foreign tourists. And my uncle used to be one of the guides. So that is how I got into tourism. I got into mountaineering, knowing about the facts, the international tourism coming to the country, my uncle going on climbing expeditions. So all this mixed up and cherished the tour operator or the explorer inside me. Yeah, so I started at a different phases, I did not become tour operator in one day. So it took me over 10, 15 years. I worked in a different space. And I know so well the tourism because I know a rule of a chef, I know a rule of a cook and helper, and I know the rule of a porter as well, because I've been through all this process.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, it's mean that you learned every toughness. Yeah, yeah, in there, in your environment around, so they create you to follow all the process, right? So yeah, I believe that's because from compared to other operators, that's why you are different and you are unique, yeah, because you follow all the process from the zero, yeah. We are almost the same, that we are start also from for you is from porter, right? Expedition porter, and become hooker and guide and tour operator. So I start also the tourism from become assistant cooker expedition. So we are in the same step, yeah. But that's make us more not only tough in the experience, but also what is we are different from other. Okay, anyway, do you have any presentations to show to us?
Yes, I have a presentation, but to be...
You want to present yourself or from my side?
Well, let me try if I can.
Yes.
I think go to files and then
yes.
I'm not very expert in finding the...
It's okay. We learn together. In here, we are in Indonesia, try the new things during the COVID-19. Is yeah, it's like this. We are running a lot of channels, yeah, and doing meetings virtually.
Yes, I'm trying to find out my presentation.
You can press share screen.
Well,
the
then
middle.
it comes because it is on my desktop, so
yeah,
I don't know how to open the desktop. There is no.
okay. Let me help you. Yeah.
You can do that. Would be wonderful.
Wait. This is your presentation, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect. So,
okay.
So this is how it is. My journey started. It is all about the commitment, you know, because when I started my journey as a cook, helper, or porter, it was I came from a very remote village, and in the village there was no road, there was no electricity, and then there was no outside, no TV. It was completely dark village. When I grew up, it was completely dark, you know. I used to study in the lanterns, in the light of lantern, and we had no electricity, and I started in lantern, and we would live in a joint family, one big hall, and everybody would sleep in this hall. But I mean, it's a different design though. So it was so difficult to buy shoes, you know, for climbing or for trekking. So even to buy shoes, it was very expensive. And then I used to buy 150 rupees to 200 rupees and a $1 cost of shoes, you know, that would buy from the secondhand market. And then the journey was to going to Everest, you know, it's a long journey to buy $1,300 of shoes. So this journey you can determine and imagine it was not so easy. It was not so small, you know.
Yeah.
And then this is just, you know, to build a school, because my life purpose was not only limited to climbing. It had multiple purposes. What I achieved, everything I achieved was with a purpose, with a goal. So this is how the journey started. And then I became the first brother and sister team, me and my sister, to go to 7 summits. So you can see this is my village. It's on Pakistan-China border. I mean, the last village at 3,100 meters above the sea level. And as I mentioned earlier, there was no road, there was no quite challenging. I cannot tell you. There was nothing from outside world. Yeah. Everything you have to produce within the village. You have to rely on your farming. You have to rely on your livestock. So the two things, main source were the herding and farming, because you could not bring anything from the outside. It was so challenging. So that is how I lived, because the environment and the remoteness. So this is the village called Shimshal. It is a beautiful, yes, it's a small village. Over 2,000 people live in this village. So this is the central part of the village, and then it has the upper part and then the lower part of the village. So as I mentioned, herding and farming used to be the main source. So this is yak. In the summers, the women go up in the pasture at 4,600 meters to milk the yaks and make wool and make butter and cheese for the rest of the season, for the winter, I mean, actually. So there was a total mechanism. In the summer, mostly the male would do the farming to grow the crops, grains for the winters, and the women would go up to the pasture and collect the milk, yogurt, make yogurt and cheese for the winter purpose. So this was a routine, you know. In the summers, they would go in the mountains, women mostly, and then male would work in the fields in the village. And so that was a tough survival environment. And then the Hunzak region is entirely, as I know, it is the brand, it is a crown for Pakistan when it comes to tourism. So it has uniqueness, culture, diversity, and I mean, the ethnic group in this region is called Ismaili Muslims. And then they are very, I would say, liberal, progressive, and highly educated. So it is the culture of coexistence and participation. Women in all aspects of life is so big. So that is why the women and men equally participate in every field of life in this region. And there is no limitation, restrictions. And then, as I said, it is a valley of coexistence and progress. So this is one of the culture dance. So these are the girls of my village. So you can see every woman in my village, they go to school and college, and they work in different field of life. And then actually the people in the mountains, they speak Wakhi language. And then this language is spoken in 4 countries, in small part of Xinjiang province, small part of China, and a small part of Afghanistan, Tajikistan, and in Pakistan. So it is in the trans-border between these high mountains. So you could say in the Central Asian, high plateau of Central Asia. So these are the Tajik origin, and the cape is originated from Tajikistan, or we call Tajik. And also the language is driven from the Persian language, Farsi.
Yeah, because you live in the border, you're also influenced with the face, yeah? Your face is different from many other Pakistani, right?
Yes.
Especially women, yeah? It's like a Chinese.
Yes, fair skin, and then, yeah. So, yes. So as I mentioned, Hunza, Gilgit-Baltistan, and when it comes to mountain tourism and mountaineering and mountain adventure, like Carstens is the crown of Indonesia, K2 is of Pakistan, you know? So K2 is the highest mountain in Pakistan and the second highest mountain in the whole world. And this mountain is so magical and magnificent, the sheer standing tall mountain, and then one of the most challenging mountain in the whole world. So my mountaineering participation was like through high altitude portering, working with different foreign expeditions. So this is one of the inspiration came from my uncles, those who work with Pakistan Army as a mountaineering member. So that is how it started all my interest in the mountaineering. So when they bring the pictures from the mountains, it used to be very enticing and very special for me. Yes, so actually there is 2 parts of the mountaineering journey. One is my own story, as how I started, how I grew, who taught me, encouraged me. And then parallel to this, when I grew up, how I encouraged my sister, because my sister is the first and only Pakistani woman who climbed Mount Everest, and she's the first to complete the 7 summits. And she's the first Muslim, not only first Pakistani, but she's also the first Muslim woman to complete the 7 highest mountains expeditions. So I started, as I mentioned, the inspiration from my uncles, and then tourism in my village. Well, and then, as I said, I worked not only just a tour operator or just mountaineer. I started as a cook, porter, cook assistant, helper, and then high altitude porter. So I worked in every field in tourism industry. So that is one of the picture from early 2009 during one of the expedition. Well, as I said, I set a purpose. Tourism promotion was one thing, to be tour operator was one thing, but how to project and promote the outdoor activities in Pakistan. So that was one of the biggest goal of my entire journey into mountains. So how I would take my story and encourage many other young people in Pakistan. That's why when I started climbing with my sister in 2010, I started Pakistan Youth Outreach Foundation. So it's a youth program that through mountaineering and outdoor activities, we promote the culture of outdoor and domestic tourism, and also the culture of outdoor exploration and mountaineering. Hello, Evie, you there? Can we move to the next slide, please? Evie. Hello.
Hello, sorry, yeah. This is because it's rain in here. Okay, we start again. Yeah.
Okay, so as I mentioned, my sister, you can see in the red circle, she's my sister who became the first Pakistani woman and first Muslim woman. So we came out of very, very challenging environment. So the main thing is that if you want to achieve something in life, nothing is so impossible, you know. So, so you can see the multiple purpose of my journey. Not as a tour operator, but how to promote the outdoor sports in the country. And engaging my sister was to motivating young women in Pakistan to undertake outdoor sports. Yeah, so as I said, normal in the village, it is just normal practice to work in the fields, and then, you know, to cut the grass and to cut the crops. So it's normally routine in the village. So that's how the youth outdoor program started back in 2010. And today, hundreds and thousands of young people go in the mountains and explore the valleys. And some have started climbing small mountains, some have started climbing big mountains. So all these events are triggered across Pakistan, and it has brought a lot of awareness and interest in outdoor and natural exploration in Pakistan. So, and through Pakistan Youth Outreach Foundation, every year we organize these training programs for young people, for university students, for college students, and for school students. So it has the purpose that number one is to create a confidence building environment for young people through outdoor programs, and then also engage young people in healthy activities such as going in the nature, respect environment, and know the source of water, source of life, you know, because these glaciers are the source of water, and the water is source of life. So through these activities, we develop different curriculum, different programs, how to engage young people in building confidence and team building and risk management and life management and fear, controlling fear, and so many on. So through these programs, we design it according to our needs. So how fruitful it can be for the young people in Pakistan. So you can look at the multiple purpose of the programs. Yeah. And then my sister, when we started, you can look at the outfit she had back in 2010, 2011. There was not much, equipment and resources, but still, if you want to achieve something in life, you have to push on. You do not look at the resources that you should have to do it, but what resources you have to achieve it. So that is what I always believed it, because when I had 150 rupees shoes, I did not look and wait to buy a $1,300 shoes.
Yeah.
So I believe that how well I can use the 150 rupees shoes, to get to 1,300. So yeah, so you can look at
how amazing. How old your sister now?
When we started, she was 19 years old.
19 years old.
Yes, back in 2010, and she climbed Everest when she was 21 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, 22 years old, and now she's, I think, 28 years, 29 years. So this is how, because the journey I started was from the time to time, I put purpose in it. So it was now for gender equality, for women empowerment. Mostly for women empowerment. Let's say me and my sister, we climb mountains in Pakistan, a culture where believe people, Pakistan is a rigid or stiff society for women. And through these outdoor sports and outdoor activities, I say, no, see, I and my sister, we climb mountains together. And these are the motivation. These are the inspirational stories for other women. And then you look at through, and then this is say, women in Pakistan are strong, are capable. We are prime ministers. We have all the women working in different capacity in the government and in the private sector and sports. But mountaineering is untraditional and very little known to the society in Pakistan. So this is a winter expedition we had, and you can see the frozen sleeping bag and surviving. All you need to have the courage.
Yeah.
And these are reflection of women's strength and women's courage.
Yeah, and then maybe your relations to your sister is more closer than before the expeditions, right? How about your relations?
Well, I always, as a child, I always had to tell the stories to her. Well, how when you grow, when you grow, we will climb together. I would tell stories about our uncle. I would tell stories about outdoor and mountaineering and how this should contribute to the country outdoor sports history. So that's how she got the motivation and also the interest. And it was a wonderful experience.
Yeah.
And then that is how, because things I carry very smartly, I take things purposely and progressively. So that's how then I started the Karakoram expeditions in 2012, because I thought I have to take the resources, generate, things nicely. That's how I started Pakistan Youth Outreach Foundation. I started Karakoram expedition to generate revenue, to run my programs, to meet my ends. So that's how I did not wait when I built an expedition company or tour a company, and then I will start these works. So I initiated, and then from time to time, I made the additions to my profession and to my work. So that's how I started Karakoram Expedition, a tour operating company in Pakistan, handling various expeditions to K2, Nanga Parbat, and trekking, and then all the tours in Pakistan. So these are some of the pictures from our different expeditions. We climbed the mountain, unnamed and unclimbed. We named it for gender equality, Mount Equality, just to symbolize, you know, to give the message that, see,
Yeah.
Samina and I, as sister, we climbed this mountain. It's a peak for Kui Barobar, Mount Equality. So with every expedition, I would add addition that how this expedition should benefit my society in a good way, and how I could motivate other people, either men and women, to get involved in, not if in mountaineering, but in other sports and other field of interest. Yeah, so you can see from time to time, I had all this purpose of engaging women and sending message of equality, women empowerment. So this is one of the expedition in 2012.
Wow.
So that's how you keep on going. You have less resources, you have less experience, but it doesn't mean that you quit. It is important always, whatever you have, you keep on learning, you keep on motivating yourself and excel and experience to excel. So that is how you see Samina had 6,000 meter experience, then went on to 7,000 meter and then on to 8,000 meters. So that's how the process you have to evaluate through experience and to grow. So it's like, you know, it is not only to achieve, you know, through the comfort life. If you want to be exceptionally different, if you want to achieve big, it's very important to suffer. Yeah. So if you don't suffer, you wouldn't succeed, you wouldn't achieve. So mountaineering is a sport where either you die or you survive, you know. So, and this is how I can tell people that with the meager resources, with the extreme challenges, you survive. When you go to next page, you would see my sister. So I take this as an example. See, if I survived in -30, -40, Samina, my sister, also survives -30, -40. Wow. The places I went, she went the same. So it is all about your motivation. Either you want to be a good tour operator, you want to be a good tour guide, you want to be a good academician or photographer, you have to keep on improving, keep on learning to achieve big, you know? So that is what the situations you come across to make a significant impact in your society.
I agree with that.
So there is a training process, you know. So what I always believe is that what you learn, what you know, you should not limit it to yourself. You should relay this information and experiences and knowledge. So that's how, apart from promoting outdoor sports and programs, I also encourage people. I also try to give away the knowledge I have. So that's also one of the purpose of all these mountaineering expeditions and mountaineering training programs, youth outreach programs. So this was the main goal. See, you practice, experience, improve for one of the biggest goal, biggest challenge. So Mount Everest, the highest mountain on earth. Many people want to achieve the biggest in their field of life. So as a mountaineer, it's Everest, the tallest mountain. So millions of people plan and want to stand atop Everest. So in 60 years since the inception of Pakistan or existence of Pakistan, no women ever been to Everest from Pakistan. So previously there were only 3 men who climbed Everest from Pakistan. So there was no women from Pakistan ever climbed Everest. So this was the grand, biggest expedition from my country. And it was wonderful. So because we were not as a friends or colleagues, but we were brother and sister. Yes. So going to Everest at one hand was as a representing Pakistan. At the contrary, I was encouraging my sister to setting an example that any woman, any man, any person should encourage siblings, wives, women,
Yeah.
whoever, so they can achieve their goals. So that
Yes.
was one of the reasons I went to Everest. So that was very special.
So Samina becomes the first Pakistani woman to reach Everest, right?
She becomes the first woman from Pakistan to summit Everest. She becomes the first Pakistani among men and women to climb the 7 summits. And she becomes the first Muslim woman to complete the 7 highest mountains in 7 continents.
Yeah, amazing.
So these pictures come, and then, you know, often people underestimate you, underrate you, or don't believe in you. So we had a press conference where we spoke about the program, the project, and objective. And one of the journalists said, "Oh, she's very small because Samina is, you know, hardly 5 feet tall. She's a tiny girl." And said, "Oh, she's very small, very little. How she would climb Everest?" I said, "Okay, we'll see." Well, this is some of the friends. Maybe we skip some of the pictures because I have a lot of pictures. So what I always add, as I say, from time to time, I would make additions to my project, to my goal, like gender equality, women empowerment, promoting domestic tourism, encouraging international tourism, engaging young people in healthy activities. And in 2000, from 2006 till 2014, 15, Pakistan was going through a hell of time.
Yes.
Because the terrorism in Pakistan killed over 60,000 people in various bomb blasts and all this killing. So, and many young people were not sure what would they do because Pakistan was so dangerous place at that time. Yeah. So I said, I as a Pakistani, my sister as a Pakistani, if we do good to our country, if we represent our country in a good way, we should be proud. And every individual should be proud and should love the country. So that was one purpose that we said, we love Pakistan, because it was everywhere bomb blast, you know, people were killed.
Yeah.
But we said, see, we are doing good to our country, so we love Pakistan.
Yes. Yeah, I believe that.
And today everything is different.
Yeah.
And then the puja ceremony at the Everest Base Camp, a blessing from the mountain goddess, a Buddhist ritual, you know. So that is one of the pictures from the base camp of Everest.
So this is before the climbing, yeah? Before the expedition climb
start of the mountaineering, everything you have to experience, excel, you know. So if you don't practice, if you don't improve, you wouldn't succeed. So in everything you do in life, you want a good job, you have to study hard. If you want to be a good politician, be a good politician. Whatever you do, be the best of it. So this is one of the practice training at the Kambu Icefall at the Everest Base Camp. And same seminar.
This is seminar.
Yes. So I make always the comparison, you know, you see there is no differences. It is only the opportunity you give to a person, a woman, so she can achieve it too.
Yeah.
So same, we were at the base camp, we were the only brother and sister team. We were the only Pakistani. It was 60th anniversary of Everest since its first ascent back in 1953. And we were very excited and we were very happy. And then the journey begins through, you know, the challenges, through night, the darkness, through cliffs, through the overhang, through the sea wrecks, you keep on going. See, so the danger exists. If you don't take risk in life, you wouldn't survive, you wouldn't succeed. So it's always better to have the success going over the calculated risk and you can achieve your goal. So this is on the left side. So this is one of the pictures from the Lhotse face. Yeah, that is one of, on the left side is Kambu Icefall, one of the dangerous mountain, a dangerous part of the mountain. So, and then when I was going to the summit, you know, it was always the purpose that how can good message I give to the society in Pakistan, to the Muslim world, that women should be encouraged, women should be given space and opportunity to excel. So this is one of the picture from the Lord's Face. So it was almost 248 meters short from the summit when I turned around, because I thought Samina should go to the summit without my support, because we had to give a message that, oh, listen, if you train and you teach and you trust and you have the confidence on a woman, she can reach the summit on her own without your moral support. So yeah. I turned around from almost 8,600 meters from the summit of Everest when Samina went without my moral support to the summit of Everest.
Oh, this is already, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, so you see mountains are very special place where it gives you immense stress, physical stress. At the same time, it gives you an incredible view, you know, so higher places, better view. So it is the same when you work in a high position, you enjoy the perks and privileges, you know. Similarly, if you climb higher as a mountaineer, and then the view is spectacular if you look from the top. So this is the final incredible part of the journey. This is called the Hillary step. So this is the very crux of the entire summit. You are almost 100 meters short or 50 meters short from the summit. So here is Samina at the Hillary step. So these days, because of, this is the death zone I will always speak about. The death zone reflects a human endurance and capability. The death zone either reflects across the professions. I give it this, I would say, a picture, or I would give it a name, that the place where your ultimate power comes into action. And this is the place in the mountains above 8,000 meters, the oxygen level goes down to 40%, you know, 30%. And the survival becomes an extremely challenging thing. And if you make a mistake, you will die at this altitude. So I give it a reflection to a profession. When you climb up to a position, for instance, a CEO or a president, and then the responsibility becomes very vital for you. So I compare it with the death zone to a position at highest place, that how you survive at this altitude or at this position to ensure the safety, ensure the success, and ensure the survival. So as a death zone in the mountain, I take it as a metaphor in an ordinary life, that as a team leader, how you manage your team at this altitude to ensure success, ensure safety, ensure survival. Similarly, in an organization structure, as a top position holder, how you manage your team to ensure growth, ensure success, and ensure sustainability. So that is the ultimate part. So this part was, mine was to survive for over 9 hours at a death zone waiting for my sister to come down from the summit, you know.
Wow.
So this is, 48 days of expedition to struggle with ultimate, I would say, psychological, emotional part, because mountaineering, you stay out of the family, you stay out of comfort zone. And then apart from climbing a different mountain, going through different and dangerous parts of a mountain, the current scenario to survive a human traffic jam is one of the biggest challenge, because climbing a mountain is different. But at the same time, if you have hundreds of people on the mountain, how do you survive with the human traffic? Somehow, she stands atop Mount Everest, Samina. She becomes first Pakistani woman to climb Mount Everest, to summit Mount Everest, and take the message of gender equality and women empowerment to the top of Mount Everest. and after 60 years. So being first is always very special. Being first is always very inspirational. And being first in any journey of life, it gives you a historical space, you know, you become part of history. So either you do a small thing, but being first is always very special. So Samina Beg stands atop of Mount Everest, becomes first woman. So this is the recap. The journey started with very different outfit. And then you see the first picture you saw in a different picture. So this is the route of Mount Everest. So you go through different places to reach the top. So similarly, I take it as a metaphor that if you want to be one of the top executive in an organization, you have to climb through all these obstacles to reach the highest point. So as a mountaineer, you have to climb through the different section of the mountain to reach the top. So I take it a metaphor. If you want to become a PhD or doctorate holder of a degree, you have to start a journey all the way to get to the top. So that's the route to the top of Mount Everest. And once you achieve life, then it becomes appreciation. You know? When you become first, if you achieve, then this starts appreciation.
I don't know. Maybe bisa dimatiin itu ya. Okay, Mirza, please. Maybe 5 minutes more, yeah? Because
yes.
We need to go faster.
Yes, I have a lot of pictures. So this continues. You know, you can keep on going out. You know, keep on, because a lot of things there. When the prime minister, the president, you keep on skipping on through the slides. Then the appreciation comes through from the president, from the prime minister of the country, and it keeps on going. So what I can do, yes, so this is the former prime minister, the first picture was of the president. Maybe we go to the other slides, because then the 7 summits, you know, it was one of the grand project of mine, because the climbing Everest, and because, as I said, I add always flavor to my projects.
Yeah.
So this was the 7 summits initiative, and you can see on the far right, that was the ambassador of Indonesia.
Yeah, I know him.
I am very sad because he died in a helicopter crash in Untitled Chapter back in 2014, I think.
Yes.
So these are the ambassadors of the adventure diplomacy. So the American embassy. So this started from the South America and then end up to North and Indonesia. Maybe we would go to the peak Indonesia further. This is Aconcagua. Yeah, this is Antarctica, Vincent Mountain. Maybe we keep on going. Yeah, so it's all going beyond the comfort level. Maybe better. This is the Africa. This is the K2 expedition picture. So yeah, this is Denali. This is Aconcagua, sorry, Carstens. So Carstens is a very special place for me because now people take helicopters to the base camp, but when we went, we trekked for 6 days to get to the base camp. And it is a very special place for me. And its uniqueness for me is absolutely lovely. The terrain, the culture, the contrast, as I talk about Pakistan, similarly when we landed in Jakarta, when we flew to Bali, we landed in Bali and then on to Timika and Sangama and all across the Papua New Guinea. We had an incredible experience. The mountain and the culture is completely unique and absolutely different from the rest of the world. So this is one of the section of the Carstens. I survived 3 accidents on Carstens. I climbed other mountains, but I was near to death on Carstens. So this is
what happened?
So this is the Tyrolean Traverse when you climb Carstens pyramid. So we had to cross it by hanging into this. So one person has to cross this iron rope by pulling across. So I was the first. I said I volunteered. I would cross it and pull the rest of the team. So when I got into this Tyrolean traverse, almost to the other end of the rope, because of it was early morning, the frosts were getting onto the iron rope and the rope. So I got stuck because I had to pull myself like this, hanging and pulling it. So almost to the end, because it was a little up, because you go down and then because it's slack, the rope is slack. So I got stuck, my caravan, I got stuck. So I was hanging there for over 20 minutes and my legs were up and my head was down. And then it is almost 200 meters deep. When you fall, you are dead, So my legs were up in the sky and my head was down and I was hanging in the this traverse. So somehow my team managed to pull me back. And then the other part was I slipped because one of the team member was very frightened to descend. So I tried to go ahead of her to give her support and I slipped. And I nearly fell 400 meters to my death.
God.
So I had a very interesting experience on castings.
Yeah.
And the third incident was, it was raining like hell. And because through the jungle, it rains all the time. So we had the indigenous people as a porter with us. So we had to take them, we had to shelter in their tent, the tarpaulin tent. So because the wood was so wet, so we had to put the kerosene oil to lit the fire. So I was having a 5 liter of can of kerosene oil. And as I was pouring in the fire caught into the old drum, so it was almost blasting so on my face. So I threw it outside, but it was very special experience with the local peoples. I so gelled well. The guide was so amazed because I would do wrestling with these local people and I would fight. I would, play with these guys and give our food and our clothes. So it was so special for us. And one of our team member distracted and lost in the jungle. So we had to spend extra day to search for him and we found him finally.
Wow.
Yeah.
So there's so many story in Kartens, yeah?
Yes, it's a lovely place, I would say. I would wish to go back and hopefully we'll go back. So this is the Kilimanjaro, the highest mountain of Africa. Maybe we go some more about this. This is the summit of Kartens. Interesting place. So this is Denali in Alaska. Maybe we continue with the slides because we have, so see, you go through storms, you go through challenges, but ultimately if you don't give up, you reach the summit. So next, please. Maybe we go through the slides and then we come to the last part of my project currently. So this is Denali. This is the last summit of Elbrus, because when we started the Adventure Diplomacy Project, some of the ambassadors says within 8 months, you wouldn't be able to complete the other 6 mountains. It's impossible to do it so fast. So we said, we do it, we take the initiative and we will accomplish it. So under 8 months, we complete the 6 peaks, and under 13 months, Samina completed the 7 summits. So it was one of the fastest completion of the 7 summits journey.
Wow.
Yeah, so keep on, please. The view is always special. It's always interesting. Maybe we keep on going out here.
What's happening?
It is, maybe please keep on going. So the purpose is to say this is life is full of experience, maybe the last picture. So when people said you cannot do this, we can do it. So from Mount Everest to the 7 summits to K2, we kept on going, we kept on exploring. And then now the youth programs, either it's ski, mountaineering, ski projects, mountaineering projects, football project, so there are multiple youth initiatives we do through Pakistan Youth Outreach Foundation. And I built a school in one of the remote village in Baltistan. So the mountaineering is not only to climb mountains, it has so much project into it. So marathons and I mean, I initiated 100 type of programs in Pakistan, which was never ever initiated in the country. So the girls do skiing and mountaineering and marathons. And so these are the programs. This is my village. You would believe that this is my village. So all these programs for young people is to give a positive face of Pakistan. So this is one of the ice skating programming, cricket and football. So, so what we do is to engage young people in healthy activities. So that's what I do through my mountaineering, encouraging my sister, encouraging young people in my country to do good in life and good to the country and represent themselves, their families, and their country in a very positive way.
Okay. Wow. Amazing. Wait, yeah. I saw. I close this one first. So, yeah. That's very long story, but very interesting. Yeah. I didn't. Talk before that you got a lot of experience and very long journey to establish Karakoram expedition. It's amazing. So we will check. There are many questions. Yeah, actually, it's almost 5 in here. But okay, it's because there are many questions in here. Maybe I will ask you about what is the differences between the challenges that another 7 summit you got compared to Everest?
Well, there are 2 things that, number one is how to put together resources. That was the biggest challenge. And Everest is the highest mountains, the 7 summit, the other peaks of the 7 summits, because you are at different continents and different climate zones and different time zones. So negotiating and managing those time zones is challenging because, for instance, Asia is cold and you go to Africa, it's hot. The weather pattern is different, climate and then the time zone is different. So managing those were so difficult. And also to put together the financial resources in place was challenging too.
Okay, there's another question from Didi Putri. As the first Pakistani who reached 7 summit, what the first thing you do after that achievement?
Well, as I mentioned, I kept on changing and upgrading the programs that I initiated. I put larger prospect into my youth outreach program. So I did not cash it as an individual. I tried to give back to my society to make more impact and give it more benefit to young people and common people in my country.
Yeah. I think you already details, to mention in the presentations that you also build the foundations for rising up and manage many young people doing sport, right? Not only mountaineering, but also teach them to how is mountaineering can be a good profession, right?
Yes.
And so involved in every sector, tourism.
Exactly.
And then there are many, there's another questions is, what is to make your operator can be survive with the vision and your missions, like you say in presentations? How can you make that your tour operator can survive than any others? As you mentioned, your visions and missions before in your presentations. That's from Bayu.
Well, as a tour operator, let's see, the more you achieve, the more exposure you get, the more benefit, the more connections you build. So your achievement reflects and benefits your whatever you take the initiative. It's challenging, but it is beneficial for your causes. For instance, as a tour operator, many people know me from my mountaineering background that I'm also a mountaineer, I'm a professional, and I work on the field. I know the industry very well. So people get more reliable. Become more reliable, more trustworthy than, for instance, I am a mountaineer and I am a tour operator.
Yeah.
I started as a helper and now I'm a mountaineer. So similarly, there is another guy who has nothing, no experience, but he started the business. Who is more reliable?
Yeah.
Of course, me. So that is how my missions not only supported to spread my words to the common people in the country, it also benefiting my tourism business as well, because I become reliable, I am experienced, and the team I train them. So that is how we become professionals, rather just do the business. We do it in a professional way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You grow with your environment, right? You also
Yes.
grow with your people around who work with you. That's we need to learn about that. Many operator in here, we like in the competitions. Yeah, it's not buildings, the environments, but we have one mission to promote Indonesian tourism. So it must be, it's like what you say, yeah? We need to create environment to work with us together, yeah, not only for us to survive in our business, but if we can work together, we can survive together, right? Especially in this facing COVID-19, it's very hard.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. So, what is it? What is the most
That's how I thoroughly enjoyed walking through the Papua New Guinea. I experienced from the capital of Indonesia, for instance, from Jakarta to Bali.
Sorry, I need to make a correction. It's not Papua New Guinea. Papua New Guinea is another country, but
Okay.
Papuan is our Indonesian province, which Kartens is higher mountain there in Papua land. That's our province.
Okay. Because many times we were told it's a Papua New Guinea, so I'm sorry for the correction.
Yes.
The point is that as a tour operator, as a mountaineer, or as a tourist, it is interesting for me to trek across the Papua.
Yes.
And it was so special experience for me to interact with indigenous people, trek with them, eat with them, laugh with them, you know. There are some people who also create problems, that's fact, but if you give them a source of revenue and source of income, ultimately this will vanish within the time. Because tourism you can use as a tool for security purpose as well as far as to create jobs.
Yes.
For instance, if you are linked to a job which is source of your income, you wouldn't go against it. Correct?
Yeah.
So for me, Papua is, Carstens is a beautiful mountain. The trek into it is experience of life. And I don't know why people take helicopter. That's, for me, is a little bit crazy. And it's also a fact that Carstens is little expensive compared to other mountains. For instance, I organized K2 expedition with the silver package for $15,000.
And tax?
Yes. So I paid around $12,000 for Carstens Pyramid. So almost I ate every day fish. So I think the tour operators in Indonesia must come together. There is two things. If you raise the prices, and common people would not come to the region. If you make a reasonable price, maybe a lot of people, common people would come to experience the unique culture of Papua.
Yeah.
Correct? And then because Carstens is the highest mountain, but it's not that high. It's a 4,000 meter peak.
Yeah.
So anybody can climb it. So my point is that maybe try to make a calculation, don't make an unreasonable profit margin. Make a reasonable profit margin so you would attract more tourists. If you make the prices so high, very few people would come. If you make the price reasonable, hundreds, thousands of people would come to Papua, to Carstens.
Yeah, I understand that, but there are many situation factors, in Carstens that make affects why you need to use helicopter to reach the base camp. But it's need also more longer time if you doing trekking from start point so that's more effective too, and then also for security reason also.
I'm very lucky that I trekked to base camp. I did not fly. I'm so happy.
Yeah, that's why. So Mirza, what you do in your village, it's also I don't know who is double sounds. Maybe can we check? Yes. Okay, Mirza, what you do in your village, it's almost the same what we are doing now in Sakuntala. That our junior really want to reach their goal to attack 7 summits, like what you did with Samina,
wow. Who's doing that?
Yeah, we will start maybe from Karten first next year.
Excellent.
Yeah, we hope we can make it. And do you have any tips or anything you want to share to us, and especially for our junior to prepare the expedition? Okay, please.
Well, there is two parts. Number one, if you want to do the 7 summits, you need a lot of money. That is the number one factor, to be honest.
Yeah.
It costs a lot of money to go to Everest. It costs a lot of money to go to Vinson. These two mountains are expensive, heavily, over $50,000. So first of all, you have to make the plan how to get the resources, the financial arrangement. Number two is then the physical arrangement, how to train and prepare, you know. So if you are close to Carstens, it's a good training area to train. But then it comes to, if we can cooperate, would be happy to do it, you know. I know Indonesia and Pakistan, they are quite distant, but still I would be happy to do a program for the juniors that you want, or maybe you can bring some people to Pakistan as part of exchange program, not as a business program, but as an exchange program to motivate younger people to make the diplomacy, to contact Indonesians and Pakistan. A lot of Indonesians come to Pakistan, but it would be wonderful if you could bring some people to Pakistan to do a joint program together. And then at the same time, we are also trying to sell Carstens as part of the 7 Summit tour to Pakistani people, those who want to do, because now this interest is growing. So maybe we can also try to promote Carstens in Pakistan. That those who are those aspiring people who want to do Carstens, they can come to you people, and then we can do a lot of things like together.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, interesting offering. Yeah, we will think about it. Yeah, maybe our junior want to train there. Yeah, before reach other 7 summit.
Yes.
Yeah, you can train at around K2 there. Yeah, why not? Tuh, ayo ditawarin tuh jadi itu ke Pakistan latihan teman-teman. Yeah. That's interesting. So that's I also learned from this our talk, especially how is mountaineering can be diplomacy tools, to communications, and also to to introduce our country. Like you say, that Pakistan is out of radar, from tourists, because I'm sorry to say that maybe for Indonesia also, because Pakistan is very close to Afghanistan, so we need sometimes many Indonesians need to think, is that safe? And that's why visa Pakistan is not really easy to get for Indonesian.
Well, now things have changed. Yeah. I mean, Pakistan is 100% safe now because the terrorism is completely wiped out of the country. So absolutely no problem. We had trouble border with Afghanistan and India, but everything is under control. No problem, absolutely no worries. Because, Indonesia had a little bit of these crazy people also, those who had blew themselves, in Bali and places. Yeah. So these crazy people live everywhere in the world. France and Spain. So these crazy idiots, fanatics are everywhere. But if they ask about safety, I can 100% ensure that there is absolute safety in Pakistan these days. There is absolutely no problem of terrorism. Number two is the visa. Visa is now online. Within one invitation, you can get for the normal tourism tourist visa within 3 days. If you ask for an invitation letter or a hotel booking, you get the visa within 3 days. And you get the visa online. You don't need to go to the embassy. You go apply online. So the visa is completely now easy, no problem at all. You would need only invitation letter.
for me, it's not very difficult. But there are some friends say that how can you can get easily visa for Pakistan? So that's why. But thank you, Mirza. But I also can say, to other Indonesia in here. Based on my experience, go around by myself. I only fly alone in last Ramadan, and it's safe. It's safe and very amazing. I really want to go back because the culture, especially, and so also in remote area, for me is still interesting to explore.
Exactly.
Especially to Unza. Maybe I will go to your village next time, and then back from border.
I welcome you.
Yeah. But I will think about it seriously for our exchange programs. Maybe we will find any possibility for that. Okay.
Yes.
In Jakarta now it's already 5:30 and it's already 30 minutes late. From normal, but it's okay. It's amazing talk with you. Even this is not enough. Maybe we need 2 hours more later. In next, we will invite you next time again. To share more detail about mountaineering. Maybe it's like a virtual training.
Of course, yes. I'm happy to do that. Thank you very much, Evie, and thank you guys for listening to me. And
thank you very much to Mirza and also Karakoram Expeditions family there in Pakistan, and also my friends in Pakistani who watch in here. So I learned that's I can say this point for this evening, that's no venture, no gains. You can do something for your country from mountaineering activity and also adventure you do. And moral support is really needed in one expeditions. That we hear that Mirza very push Samina that she can prove that Pakistani women can reach 7 summit. And then preparations and leadership factor is very important in one successful expedition. Okay, Mirza, is that right?
Yes, beautiful. Thank you.
Mungkin itu teman-teman bincang-bincang kita sore hari ini. Nanti akan ada closing mark dari Ocha sebagai host. Silakan.
Terima kasih Kak Eva dan Mr. Mirza atas sharingnya yang luar biasa, sangat inspiratif dan cetar. Oke teman-teman, minggu depan kita akan kedatangan tamu Dr. Tri Maharani, yaitu seorang dokter spesialis emergensi dan toksikologi ular berbisa di Indonesia, yang akan mengajari kita bagaimana melakukan pertolongan pertama saat kita berkegiatan di alam, termasuk saat tergigit ular. Tak lupa kami ucapkan terima kasih kepada para sponsor, tim yang bertugas, dan para pemirsa EarbayChannel dan Mapalasa Kuntala Channel dimanapun berada. Ikuti kami terus ya. See you next week guys.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you Mirza.
Thank you.
Yes. Happy to meet with you.
Thank you. Bye friends. See you next time.
See you I will call you.
Bye.
Send my regard to Samina.